You'll see that message popping up here. That way we can get started on time. We got about another minute to go. I don't know if you're sorry for driving, Justin, or you're sorry that you're in Texas. All right. Okay. So I am Mr. Haley. I am the manager of online learning, and I have taught this class for many years. I have worked with Dr. Parker, Dr. Reynolds, and Ms. Taylor. We helped develop this program, and so I'm quite familiar with this class. I will be filling in for her today. So don't worry, you're not stuck with me the entire class period. But career prep is something that people sometimes get confused with. They wonder why they're in the class to begin with. I know how to fill out applications, da 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 da. But career prep teaches you far more than that. So I want you to be aware of that. You don't just go get a job. Okay, career prep is a process that you have forever. Okay, you're going to be continuously growing and developing that career. Everything from growing your network, meeting new people, learning new skills from people who are already in the field. Okay, I know that Justin, you're driving and that, but anybody else, feel free to unmute your mic and chime in at any time when I'm speaking, because this is your class. You can interact, or you can use those emojis if you have those, or drop in the chat box if you have that. Depending on how you're connecting, your session is a little different. So one of the things I tell people, if you're not networking, you're not working, because so many of the job opportunities out there, they're never posted. You learn about them from people who you meet. So people who are in the electrical fields, HVAC, everything, you go out to trade shows, you meet people in the field, have contact cards with your name on them, your tagline, telling a little bit about yourself. On the backside, you can list your skills, things like that. If you don't want paper cards, you can get an app on your phone so you can tap your phones and you can pass that information on. You need to get out there and meet people, and you don't start after you graduate, you start now. Okay? Your workers or your students that you're talking to, that's networking. Your instructors you're talking to, that's networking. So all these things are going to be growing. Uh, People will say, oh, I've got a resume. Well, your resume is a living document. It changes every time you get a job, every time you add to it, every time you get a new skill, you should be editing that. So this is always something that's going to be growing and changing. So this is why we have this class. How many people have ever sent out a bunch of online uh, job applications and you hear from zero people? Absolutely zero. Anybody ever do that? I know I'd have. Hear from nobody. Okay. Now, how many people realize that when you send something out after that Saturday, nobody will ever see that application online? Anybody? I'm looking for emojis. Anybody to unmute their mic, say yes, etc. Otherwise, I'm not sure if you're paying attention or not. Anybody? William? Are you there? There you. Okay, I heard Jesse. There you are. Yeah. Okay. So every Sunday you need to go in and refresh those applications. You need to update them, touch them, something. Or come Monday, they will never see that application ever again. Okay? Those are called Sunday plans. So many people don't realize that. So your work's being lost. Okay? So things like that. These are things that you will find out in these courses. All right? So enough about that. We are going to get to getting because these are things that you're going to find out, things in the interviews you're going to find out. So there are hints from people like me that are 3 days older than late and are 3 days older than dirt and learn from our experiences. Things that we found out the hard way, grow from those. Okay. Don't come in and think, I know everything there is about it, because I guarantee you 30 years from now, you still will not know everything about it. Learn and grow. All right. Even if you have a position in your field, now the big trend is if you want to go up, you will still have to interview for that next position because they're going to interview you and new people coming in. You're not just going to be handed that next position. So let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen. And while I'm going through this presentation, one question I will not answer is, are we almost done? The next one I will not answer is, have you done the question for attendance yet? Okay, if you're paying attention to the presentation, you will know. Once I have given that uh, attendance question, and somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I missed it. Could you repeat it?" No, I will not. You will have to go back and watch the recording. Okay, I've been around on Southern Tech's campus for 7 years. I know the trick that I wasn't listening. I stepped away, and now I realize the class is about over. I need to have that repeated because I wasn't paying attention. All right, so everybody got that? Everybody understands that, yes? So please pay attention. It is important information. And so that's why you are here. This is part of your certifications, your degrees, etc. Everybody got that? Looking for emojis, unmuting mics, chat boxes, etc. All right.
Understood.
Thank you. And so it's not so bad. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. All right. So here we go. Here's your course. This link is only for today. You'll have Miss Parker back tomorrow, okay? And so you are in week one. You can get to your assignments here, or you can get to them through your modules. Um, so we are in here, and of course on Tuesday you have your participation assignment. Look ahead for tomorrow. You're going to have a scheduling assignment with Career Services. Reason why I say look ahead, if you click on this, you're going to be setting up an appointment to do a resume review and a mock interview. And it tells based on your campus how to do that. I'm telling you to look ahead now because you are not the only class, okay? There are 3 instructors teaching this class, and they have 3 to 4 classes each, and they are all going to have students that are going to be booking appointments. So get the jump on them. With you being a morning class, get in there, book those appointments early so you get the better dates and times. All right. So that's why I wanted to give you a heads up on that. So I'd rather you get in and get those better appointments. So that's what that's going to be. Uh, you don't have to wait till tomorrow to do that. There's going to be an assignment tomorrow about how can your online presence on LinkedIn, Instagram, enhance your career access and potential to different employers, and give at least 2 examples. So start thinking about that. How will they perceive you with an online presence? Remember, not having any online presence can be a negative. They might think that you're kind of outdated or not current with what's going on. So being completely off the grid is not necessarily good. And then you're going to have a personality test and a career plan. I'm going to let Miss Parker go over those with you. Okay. I don't want it to be so overwhelming that you're like, oh my God, there's a ton of stuff. But remember, these things can be done in short spurts and relatively quickly. All right. So we're going to jump right into the presentation because it's best to get through this and not fall asleep, right? Trust me, when I was a student, I had a class with a best friend, and we would alternate days sleeping in class because we had about 200 students in our class, and it was business statistics. Not the most exciting thing. I'm a real person. I know how things work, and no, I'm not proud of having to sleep through classes, but it was a 6 a.m. class. It was not fun. And so we're going to start here, and I have some rearranging of screens to do here. Give me 1 second. I lost my cursor. I have 4 screens going. There it is. Let me swap my displays. You got that. And I got my pencil here. And I always start off with a little smiley face and make sure things are working. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is we are going to explain the concepts of career preparation, the purpose of a career plan. You always have to have a plan. Now, I know some people say, I never have a plan, I just kind of wing it. That itself is still a plan. Winging it's a plan. Hate to tell you that. Talk about personal skills, okay? And SMART goals. There are goals and SMART goals and career pathing. Not a big fan of the way they break that down, I'll be honest with you. Okay, so career prep. Okay, everyone's different. So I'm not going to tell you there's only one way to do career prep because that's not true. And there's a difference between a job and a career. Now, a lot of people have had jobs, not necessarily a career. Okay, so uh, we're going to talk about that. So the difference, a job is short term for money, basically. That's what you're really looking for is you're looking for money. I gotta have money. Hopefully you have chosen your career for more than just money. Okay. Hopefully you're looking at something that's going to make you happy. And besides that happiness, it will bring money. If you're looking just for money, you're not going to get the happy. Okay. Get the happy, the money will follow. So make sure you're doing it the right way. I started off, I did it the wrong way. I was making money. I was so unhappy. It was destroying me. So I ended up having to backpedal. So make sure you do it the right way. Learn from my mistake. I had to go all the way to hit rock bottom and build myself back up the way I wanted to be. A career, though, requires more education. Hello, this is why you're here. Okay, you're getting that education and it's going to help you. Okay, and your career may change multiple times. It could be related, it might not be related, but don't feel bad if you get into it and decide this is not what I wanted. It can change. Okay, now there are things that are actually established that are called career pathways. And there are established ones and emerging ones. And this is where I don't like the way they describe this. Okay. Now, an emerging occupation. Okay. Emerging. These are new occupations that have developed, okay, brand new or change due to technological or other advancements. So some of these have been around, but they're still considered emerging because things have changed. Okay. And you're going to see some examples of that here in a minute. Now, there's a couple of places here that you can write these down. And one of them is the Occupational Information Network, ONET, right here. And here's their website and the U.S. Department of Labor right there, dog.gov, okay? And these are two very important websites, and people may not have known what they do, okay? Now, that ONET, that resource gives you description of in-demand industries in those emerging occupations, okay? So it's going to tell you which ones are becoming more in demand. So you can go there and see that. Now, that Department of Labor, that's going to tell you what the hourly standards are. Okay, how many people know what you should earn when you graduate? How many people know that? See a show there. How many people know what your starting salary range should be? Okay, because if you don't, you need to. Otherwise, if they offer you money, how do you know if that's right? William, that's an excellent offer. It kind of depends what exact position in that field you're going for. Quality, it also depends on what type of benefits are offering, things like that. So the the field of work, where you're going to be working. Are you going to be working in this, and that? So, well, asking people who know more than you, that's kind of okay. But the other place, have you heard of a place called Glass Door? Has anybody heard of Glass Door? Okay, Glassdoor, you can look at the company and the people who work there and find out what they've made. Okay, and the reason why you want to know this is because you go in for a position, you're A and they're B, you can be doing the exact same work and they can make $5 more an hour. And that's on you because you're going to have to negotiate your value, your money. Everybody doesn't necessarily get paid the same amount for the same work, and you cannot complain about that. So you're going to have to learn that everybody's not equal in pay. It's how you're going to negotiate it. And we all hear the phrase, well, places are just in it for the money. Yes, they are, and they should be, because they're a business. They're not a friend, they're a business. A business is there to make money. And if they're not, we call them out of business. But remember, you are a business too. Okay? You are your own business and you need to negotiate what's best for you. You don't negotiate what's best for your friends. You negotiate what's best for you. Your benefits, your money, your this, your that. Everybody got that? And if a friend says, well, what about this? What about that? Hand them your bills and ask them which ones are they going to pay. You see what I mean? When it comes to your career, you have to be business savvy. And that may sound cold to some, but that's business. Do not confuse business with friendships and your personal. Always keep them separate. Okay? And that's how business works. But this Department of Labor will tell you what the hourly standards, wage informational, and safety for that position is. So it's general across the country. It will give you ballpark figures to try to figure out where you should be. That way you know if you're being lowballed. Because the cheaper a company can get you, that's more money they save. All right? So, a career plan. Now, this is a documentation where you are today in the job search process, okay? And where you would like to be, kind of like a roadmap. You're here, you want to get there. How do you get there? And the stuff that you are putting on there are called action items. Now, if I'm circling it, you may need to know that, possibly for a quiz or test later on, okay? Hint, hint. Okay, so before creating your plan, it's helpful to do what's called a self-assessment and a skills assessment. How many people know what your skills are? If I ask you to tell me what your skills are, you could list them. And I don't want to see I'm good with power tools because I'm going to say which power tools. Okay. When you're listing your skills, be specific. Does everybody understand that? Be specific. I can run a TIG welder. Okay. I can run this type of CNC or a plasma cutter. I can do this and this. Those skills equals money. Okay. Skills equals money. Okay. My VAT students. Do I have any VAT students in here? Usually I have vet assisting in here. Um, Sometimes I have them, sometimes I don't. Anybody who's an MA, if you can run centrifuge, if you can do fecal floats, if you can do this and that, everything that you can do, if you can do blood draws, if you're a vampire there, um, those individual skills, those get you money. Um, if you're electrical, if you're skilled in industrial applications, if you're skilled in doing breaker boxes, et cetera, all those things, those are skills. But if you say, I can do wiring, that doesn't tell me anything. So learn to speak specifically. The other thing is know the names of things. Being able to use equipment's great, but if I ask you what's the name of this piece of equipment you're using, know what it's called. And don't say its name's Fred. Okay, that's cute, but that's not the right answer. Know what you know and know what you don't know. If you don't know something, don't be afraid to say, I don't know that, but I'm sure I will learn once you hire me. See how I turn that around? Always keep things in the positive. And we're going to talk about SMART goals too. So your self-assessment, keyword being self, this is a measure of yourself, and it's gonna um, be all about your individual actions and attitudes, okay? And it's gonna allow you to see your direction. Now, I know this sounds like a bunch of, oh, I don't want to do this, right? People are like, I don't want to do this, but you do it anyway. Mentally, you're really doing this. But it's going to tell you about your natural aptitudes, not attitudes, abilities, personality, and values. So how are we going to do this? So you have to know what they are. What's an aptitude? Okay. This is what you develop naturally. When we talk about natural abilities, it's aptitude. Okay. Now you see me circling this. That's a hint. You're going to need to know this. Okay. Think about that. Now, this is something that you develop naturally. People have natural abilities. Those are aptitudes. Now, if it's mental, it's cognitive. Now, how I remember that, I think of the gears turning in someone's head, like a cog in a machine. So that's how I remember cognitive is mental. But they can have a natural physical aptitude too. Some people just have naturally physical bodies that can allow them to do these things. Okay. So they can do an informal aptitude test to find out what natural abilities that they have, and they can do formal ones as well. Sometimes during an interview process, they will ask you to do a test. Okay. And so those are some of the things that they will actually ask you to do. So that way they can have you do one of these things. So you will see some of those things like math tests, things like that. Okay. Now, what is an ability? Okay. An ability is a mastery of a skill. So that is like a limit. Your ability is your limit. Okay. Then what is a skill? A skill is something you learn. Okay. So we kind of intermix these things, but they're not the same. A skill is learned. Aptitude, you're born with it. It's natural. Okay. And then both of those are limited by your ability. Does everybody got that? Aptitude, born with, skill, you learn. What we teach here at Southern Tech, we teach skills. You can all learn skills, and you're limited by abilities. Some people have stronger abilities, some have weaker ability, but you can all learn the skills. Some have natural aptitudes that make them easier, and others. All right. Now, let's talk about those personalities. That's what makes you unique. Okay. It's also your values, your work habits, your dependability, your loyalty, and your natural motivation. How many people like ourselves? Let's see a show of hands. Who likes yourself? Now, I should be seeing a lot of hands and a lot of emojis. Yeah, Elijah, it depends. Sometimes you're not talking to yourself. Okay, I should be seeing a lot, a lot, a lot. All right. So everybody's personality is unique. And we're going to find out your personality because you're going to be taking tomorrow a personality test. And that type of test is called a Myers-Briggs type indicator. And these are usually pretty close if you're honest in the answering of it. So that's going to be an assignment tomorrow, that personality test. So enjoy taking it. Most people do. And it's going to measure your psychological preferences. And it's going to show you how you make your decision and you view things. So answer those questions as accurately as possible. Don't try to figure out where it's going because it's going to ask you very similar questions in different ways. But answer. Oh, you were a commander. That's interesting. What's really nice about this one, it's going to tell you what personalities, meaning like celebrity personalities and famous people, also have that same personality type. So it's interesting. William's the protagonist. Awesome. And did you find that both of those, for both of you, that it was pretty accurate in its description? Most people do. So I'm anxious to see. Yes, that's very good. Kind of yes. Okay, very good. Now let's talk about those values. I always like to respect people's values because remember, values are principles and beliefs that a person considers important. Okay, so when you're talking to people and you start hitting on their principles and beliefs, be kind. Step very cautiously. You can have differences in different subject matters, but step very cautiously on people's principles and beliefs. Back away from those type of things, okay? And these are the things that matter most to people. Agree to disagree and step away from things that hit on people's values, okay? These are things that represents what a person believes and how they choose to work and live. And they affect every part of their life, okay? Including their relationships and work decisions. Now, some of these are going to change with time and others are going to be constant, okay? And these are kind of like guideposts, okay? So kind of be careful. Don't push on things like that, okay? So some examples, working hard. Some people are naturally push the limits more than others. Uh, And these are going to be very important when you're in work groups. We've all been in work groups where you have that one person just, they want to kind of go along and not do the work. Okay. Those kind of get weeded out when you start getting into more career, whoops, as I scroll too far. Um, those kind of get weeded out when you are working in a more career-oriented position. People don't want to do your work unless they're going to get your money. So make sure you pull your weight and don't take on others. The way I deal with it is if somebody comes up and says, I need you to do this for me. And I say, I'll be more than happy to do that for you, but I need you to do this for me. You give me your work, I'm going to give you my work back. You'd be surprised how much work doesn't come my way just for the sake of taking their work. Okay. The other thing is if someone comes up to you and says, take a look at this, take your two hands, put them firmly behind your back and look at whatever they're trying to hand you. Because if they hand it to you, it is now your problem. If your hands are behind your back, they can hold it. You can look at it and go, that's very interesting. Thank you. It's still their problem. An older lady who was one of the first women that they allowed into the IT department at AT&T, which was Bell South way back then, taught me that, and it has taught me well. Do not take on other people's problems. You are not their mother. You are not their keeper. Let them handle their problems. You handle theirs. Everybody got that? You are not the keeper of everybody else's problems because sometimes you take on their problems and it creates problems for you. Everybody understand how to navigate your career. It doesn't mean don't have friends at work. It doesn't mean don't support each other. But what it doesn't mean, don't sacrifice you for the sake of the other person not doing their part. All right. Now, you're going to hear this term often, soft skills and hard skills. We're going to talk about the hard skills first. These are the things you're learning in the labs and the shops, specifically on the campuses that you're going to. Okay, those hard skills, that's the actual welding process. That's the actual wiring process. That's the actual blood draw. Those are those hard skills. Those are easy to put down on that resume. List each and every one of those on that resume. Okay, soft skills. These are the things we're talking about in this class, and this is one of the number one things that employers are saying that they are not finding when they're interviewing. That should be a wake-up call. They need people who can do conflict management. They need people who can lead others. They need people who know how to talk to a client. They need people who can work in groups. They need people who can communicate effectively. Now, even though you're in a hands-on career, you'll be surprised how many people you come into contact with, how many people you need to communicate with. You will be in teams of people, okay? My welders that are there, you do not spend the majority of your time in that booth, okay? Electricians, you will be working with people that you are down on the line and somebody else is controlling the switch that determines if that electric flows and kills you or not. You better have good communication. There's a reason why we call that box at the other end the Widowmaker. Okay? My VAT students, I work in animal rescue and rehab. Okay, if anybody's seen the Gator Boys, I help do the dentals on their gators. When we are sitting on top of a sedated 10-foot alligator and we are pulling teeth and we've got a very short time, you better be in communication with everybody on the team because when that thing wakes up, if you are still on its back, it is not going to be happy and it does not want to kiss you. Okay? These are real things. Okay, those skills and we need to work on those. You need to be able to write, type, etc. when needed. And those soft skills go on that resume as well. Does everybody got that? And you can do this because I believe in you and I need you to believe in you the same way that I do. Okay? All right. So we got these things. So you're going to work on a career plan starting tomorrow, and it's going to be broken out into 3 different assignments. So you're not going to do this all at one time, and Dr. Parker's going to go over step 1 with you tomorrow. But your goals are going to be basically this. You're going to have a long-term goal. Where do you eventually want to get to? Okay? And then you're going to list out short-term goals. These are the things that's going to get you there. I want to own a house is going to be one of those. So, well, am I going to get there? Well, I need to get this position in my career. Okay, how do I get there? Well, I need to get my degree. Okay, what else do you need to do? I need to pass all my classes. I need to do this. Okay, so what do I need to do? Well, I need this certification. I need this certification, da, da, da. And then you list those. That's how you get there. You're going to be in a penthouse watching the city. You can do that. Believe it or not, you can do that. Realistic goals, that's how you do that. Okay? Set that up. Figure it out. What steps to take. Okay? Now, what's the difference between a goal and a SMART goal? And don't say it goes to school. Okay, a SMART goal is a goal, but it's more specific. Okay? So that's exactly what SMART means. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay, in other words, you're going to say what you're going to do, just like in a regular goal, but you're going to say, I'm going to do this within 6 months, or I'm going to do this dot, 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 dot. So you're putting parameters on it. That's why I said I'm gonna. You can. You would be surprised. And here's the thing. How many people have somebody in their life that says, you'll never do that? How many people have that? I've had that. I lived in a project and I didn't know the project was bad until people told me it was bad. Okay? Don't listen to people that tell you you won't do it, can't do it, this, that, or whatever. You know why they tell you that? Because if you succeed, it just shows that it can be done and they won't do it. Not that it can't be done, that they won't do it. They want you to stay back there so they have friends and company where they are. Okay? They want you to stay where they are, where it's comfortable. If you go and succeed, it leaves them behind. Okay? And that's what they don't want. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, not looking back. The best thing you can do when people are trying to stop you, rip the rearview mirror off and hit the gas pedal. You are not going that direction. Okay? If people are holding you back, find other people. Okay? They will come to their senses and meet you. You don't have to go backwards to meet them. They will come up to you. Okay? They will. They either have to come to you, but you don't go backwards. Go forward. Keep moving forward. You've got this. But these SMART goals, instead of just saying, I will do this, you want that penthouse? I will make that penthouse in 15 years. This is how I can do this. I need to get this much money in savings this year, this year, this year, and this year. Now, I will be in that penthouse. It may be on a tour, but I will be in that penthouse. Okay. You can set those goals and set it up in a way that it is actually attainable. Okay. I tell people, you talk about spitting facts, okay? I'm as honest as I am ugly, all right? I have no reason to not tell you the truth. You want truth, you ask, I will tell you the truth. There is no reason to lie because you can Google it. You can ask either Siri, you can ask Google, you can ask Alexa, you can ask all of them as a group. You can find this information. But I'm telling you because I really do want y'all to succeed. That's why I am here. Okay. You don't see my Lamborghini parked outside, primarily because I hide it in the bushes and disguise it as a Kia Soul. But I'm here because I really do care and I want y'all to get somewhere. Now, there's something called career pathing. Okay. And this is how you can develop your career. And there's two types. I'm sure y'all have heard of the ladder, career ladder. You go boom, 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 up that lather. We've all heard of that. Climb the ladder, climb the ladder. Okay. I've fallen off a few ladders. Okay. But there's another one called the career lattice. And this is what a lot of places are using now. Okay. There's a difference between them, and I prefer the lattice myself. So a career ladder is this. Now, I'll give you a hint. This is going to show up on your midterm here, and you have the entry level, which is little to no experience. Career level, this one right here, and that requires some skills and a little bit of preparation. Now, this is where it gets confusing. Specialist, you've been in the career field for at least a couple of years, okay? So you got a couple of years in here. See if I can get that scribbled in there. Now, the supervisory, you've got people skills and work knowledge. So you're trying to get managerial. So you've got management in there. Now, the executive, you've got all of that, plus you can manage a company. When you do that midterm, make sure you have the information for what each one of those levels exactly is, because it gets confusing. Okay, now the lattice. This is a better way to go because you don't just have the option to go up. How many have ever been told you're at the top of the pay scale for your position? We can't pay you any more for that position. How many have been told that BS? You've been told,
Me.
yeah, that's their way of saying we're cheap. We don't value you. I'll be honest there.
Well, that's the
Uh,
military. Yeah.
yep. Trust me. I've moved more times in the year with the military than I care to know about. So, but appreciate your service though, nonetheless. So you'll notice here you can move left and right besides up and down. Now, why would you want to do that? This way you make the same money, but you can go up here, and if you don't like that, you can go across and up. You have a way out. You can move to a different department and then up again. You don't have to leave the company. You can still keep your seniority, etc., but you can move left and right besides just up. So a lot of companies are doing career lattice instead of just a ladder. That way, if you hit a maximum in a department, you can go to another department and still move up. So that's the difference between a ladder and a lattice. You are not stuck in a department or at a level. You can move. Okay? Everybody got that? That's the difference. All right, we're getting close here. Now, we talked about the types of skills earlier, soft skills and hard skills. I want you to look more closely at the soft skills because that's a little bit harder for people to kind of wrap their heads around. Active listening. That's what y'all should be doing right now. Really paying attention, getting the gist of everything. Effective communication. Like telling people, look out when something's about to fall on them. That should be effective communication instead of, hey, I think something's about to, oh no, it's too late. Something hit them. That's not effective communication. Flexibility. You have the ability to go from one position to the other, etc. Initiative. Noticing something could be done in a better way. Integrity. Believe it or not, that is an actual skill. Owning up when you make a mistake. How many people have done something really horribly wrong at work? I have. I've messed things up really big at work before. But the first thing I did was, hey, I just did this. It's really bad. Da 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 da. And we did it. Is falling off a ladder bad? Well, it depends on how far you fall. uh, but they're going to find out. So if you do something wrong, bring it to someone's attention, get it taken care of. Because the longer it goes, the worse it gets. Once you realize you've done it, you may not have realized you've done it. Motivation. Someone who's really motivated. If you have, I'll give you an example. So I had a team, whoops, didn't mean to scroll backwards there or forward. So if I did have a team of people, and we would get projects that typically ran for 3 weeks or so. And I let them know if they finished early and everything was 100%, no issues, the client's perfectly happy. We have 3 weeks to get this project done. If we get this done in 2 weeks, you have a week off with the pay. Okay? There's your motivation, there's your initiative. If you get it done in 2 weeks, you have that rest of that time off as long as everything is done and the client's completely happy. Because our contracts were written, if we submitted and got everything done ahead of schedule, our company would get a bonus back from that client because we delivered before schedule. So the team would get a little mini vacation. Our company got bonus money. Now, the first thing that people above me said was, well, if they're done early, we can give them another project. I said, then they're going to take longer because you've taken away their extra. That costs you nothing, and you're going to work them to the ground. I said, if you try to do that, I will tell them, take the entire 3 weeks. Okay? So motivation, you have to have a reason to be motivated. Self-motivation, you have to have a reason to motivate yourself. Find a way to motivate yourself. That becomes a soft skill. Okay. Don't always go, well, I've got 3 days to do this. I'm going to spread it out over the 3 days. Find a way to motivate yourself. It will move you ahead. Patience with people. How many people work with someone that's not the brightest bulb? I know I do. I have some people that need to be rewired. Be patient. That's actually a skill. problem solving, not just math, but being able to figure things out and solve things. Self-confidence. How many people need more confidence in themselves? Yeah, motivation is like a discipline. They are related to me. Elijah, you're cracking me up. Self-confidence. Know what you know and know what you don't know. If you know what you know, trust yourself and know what you don't know. So when someone says, "Do you know how to do this?" Say, "No, I don't, but I'm willing to learn. Will you show me?" See what you're doing? You're telling them, "I'm taking the initiative right there. Show me." When I'm in an interview and they say, "Do you know how to do this?" Say, "At the moment, I don't, but I'm looking forward to learning once I'm employed by you." See how I turned that negative around to a positive? Once I'm employed by you. Now I've also told them, you will employ me. So now I'm actually telling the interviewer, you are going to employ me. Always turn things around so that you're telling them passively, you're going to employ me. When they're interviewing me, I always tell them, once I'm employed here, I'll be doing the following, da, 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 and I have experience in those areas. That may sound weird to you, but it does stick in their head. Teamwork, time management. If you have poor time management, start working on it. Give yourself little notes, put things on your calendar, on your phone, etc. Trust and honesty. If they ask you, when can you get this done? Don't say 2 days and then you know it's going to take 3. Be honest, tell them 3 days. Don't tell people one thing knowing you cannot make a deadline. Okay? You have due dates on assignments. Make those due dates. It will set you up for your career. Okay? You need to be prepared for due dates, deadlines, etc. Okay, we talked about your participation assignment today. We went over the other 2 things. Are you ready for your attendance question for today? Everybody ready? Looking for those emojis.
Yes, sir.
All right, here it comes. Get ready. And here it is. What's the difference between a career ladder and career lattice? So if you're paying attention, we went over that just a few minutes ago. So find the assignment under your week 1, day 2 attendance assignment. Respond there. Dr. Parker will be handling the responses. She knows what this question is. It's actually her question. And respond there. So what's the difference between career ladder and career lattice? All right. So that is the question for today, and that will be the one that gets you the attendance. So please make sure you get that in on time so that you actually get the attendance. Okay. So that is your attendance question for that. And waiting for my cursor to come back. Where'd my cursor go? There we go. All right. Are there any questions before we end today? Yes, you're allowed to put that response into your own words. Any other questions? All right. That is it for today. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for letting me be in your class today. And Dr. Parker will be back tomorrow, and you'll use your regular link tomorrow. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You as well. Appreciate it.